Just like the sunshine follows the rain, after every big investment year comes something smaller, but always in the name of progress for the park. It just so happens that, lucky for us, we not only have something from the toy box pack that we've not used yet, but also a space to put it. This is another Toxicator year, as we like to call it. Hello you guys, welcome back to Bunny Coaster 2, welcome back to Farmington Fields. As always, thank you so much for coming along for the ride, I really do appreciate it. If you are new here, we are turning a farm into a theme park, but we are nearly done. We've only got, I think, 2 episodes left, which we're going to talk about in a moment. But this is what we did in the last episode, it's our toy box pack stuff. This is really weird because I am filming this ahead of the toy box pack coming out. So, sure, I don't know if it's going to have been a success or not, you'll have to let me know in the comments below. However, we have just had notification of some changes that are coming. So there is going to be a hotfix, which might already be out by the time this episode comes out, or it might be shortly after. I don't know the full details just yet, but it's going to change the way that snow interacts with paths. It's going to change the visuals of some of the weather, and it's also going to address the prestige elements that I ripped apart in my deep dive video. So I'll have more information on that as soon as I can tell you, but I say I don't know anything at the moment. But anyway, let's do a real quick tour of the park. I don't think we've ever deliberately done that. So this is the entrance. We did this a couple of weeks ago as a variant of the entrance, and it's still looking pretty fresh. And then we do have the pirate area, which I think is probably my favorite pirate area I have ever done. It's just, it's perfect. It's perfect for the park. It fits absolutely brilliantly. I still love it. Then, of course, we've got the toy box stuff that we've already seen. We've got the sci-fi area down here, which was dipping my toes into the sci-fi theme for the first time, and I am here for it. The flying coaster and the Eurofighter. Absolutely love it. We have this random field that I have deliberately kept completely empty. Gardaland has this as well, so that's the inspiration for it. Gardaland has this field that just juts into the park. They don't own it, they can't buy it, so they build around it. So I'm kind of going for that. Maybe in the future it'll be something. Then at the back here, we've got what I can only describe as the wizarding area. It's what we did for the sorcery pack when that first came out. And then we've got the Intamin, which is the factory, which actually we're missing. There we go, there it is. I'll say we're missing some special effects, but there we go. Then we've got this bit here that's the relic of the farm that's gone by. We didn't actually touch it. Well, I did have intentions of updating it, but actually I quite like it as it is now. Likewise with this area here, this was how it was when they first bought the farm. And then we've got the Woody that replaced the coaster that was there initially. Then we've got our western area. I still love this western area. I still love the buildings, like these buildings down here. Still absolutely love it. But we've got the rapids that are in here, and it just sits amazingly. Then coming over this way to the other side of the lake, we've got our Smoky Mountains inspired area with the wing coaster and our mountainous style architecture going on in here. Still absolutely love it. And then that takes us to the final areas in the final 2 episodes. And I'm saying 2 because I've got to go to work and I've got to be away for work, so I've got to record one of those real quick episodes. It's like quickly done, and then I'll come back and do the final episode. So you can probably see the final episode already. I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but this is the area that we're working with, and the toy box pack introduced the this one here, the top scan, and I think a top scan is going to fit perfectly in this position. I can't actually place it because of all the paths and stuff causing an issue, but that's where I think I want the top scan to actually sit in the overall grand scheme of things. I think it's going to be a really nice addition to this area and really good sites that are going to be on here. Now what that does mean though is I need to do some admin, because this path needs to be moved into this tree line here somehow, because I don't know how I'm going to do it, because it is actually also a hill, so I don't know if I'm going to dig into the hill or not. That's an hour future me's problem. But then also I need to do a queue line for the top scan, and I think that's going to come along here. So because I need to remove the paths and do some admin, I'm going to go and do that. I'll come back in a minute and we'll talk about it. See you in a minute. Alright, so construction fences are up, the top scan is down, and it sits really quite nicely where it is. Like, it's going to give some really, really awesome sight lines. It's sitting slightly forward the where I thought it was going to, but that's actually a bonus because it means I can open up this area down here. You can see where the tiny eye was. I've kept the original stuff in for now, so you can sort of like get a feeling for it. It's going to really open up a bit of a pathway through here, so I think it's going to look pretty decent. The queue line is in as well, so I'm taking taking some inspiration from Samurai at Thorpe Park in the sense that that is just a cattle pen, but it has these little gaps in the middle. Now, the game has a requirement for shade and shelter now, so I'm playing with that. This means we're going to be able to put trees and stuff inside here and create some passive shade and shelter, but I quite like this idea. I do also want to try my hand at a bit of a batching area like I did with the Screaming Swing, because Samurai at Thorpe Park has also got that, so I think this would be the prime little space for that. I have also kept as much of the original stuff in as I can, and I want to keep that in. So some of the foliage and stuff that's down here is all original. It's gonna stay to an extent and also go to an extent, but I want to keep some of the original fences, particularly the fence along here. I think the boundary fence there is quite important. And then in the actual queue for the invert here, as you can see, I've just shortened it here, so I just need to update the fencing and that sort of stuff. And then out the back, as it turns out, it was already flat. I had just hidden it with lots of different levels of scenery. I'd actually stacked it upon each other to make it look like a hill. Hadn't planned that. That was just how that went. So thankfully for me, I can now just come in and stick this queue in, be done with it. So I just need to put the covers and the fences and stuff, and then that's going to be a really, really simple job to do, and then we can call that done. And I haven't actually lost any queue space because it's using about the same amount as it would have done here, so I'm alright with that. I'll take that as a win. So there's plenty of stuff for me to do. We're going to retain this original theme, of course, so let's do it, shall we? I'll see you in a minute. Oh yes, I mean, it's a small addition, it's a small investment year after last week, but it's absolutely changed the context of the area, and it's exactly how I wanted it to be. It interacts with this plaza perfectly. It's exactly as I thought I wanted it, and if you come right back here, you get some really, really awesome sightlines of it through the trees and through the mystery of the bushes and against the backdrop of all of the wooded area. I think it just absolutely looks perfect, so I can't wait to show you that. First, let's talk about the queue line for the invert, because it's now done. It's all the back here. It's next to the road, so I've allowed all the bushes and stuff to overgrow. I didn't intend on it being a completely covered queue line, but apparently that's exactly what's happened, so we'll run with it, and you know, it's there. But ultimately it's looking pretty decent in amongst all of the trees and stuff here. It's exactly as I wanted this queue line to be. A bit jungly, a bit overgrown, and a bit it doesn't interact with the ride, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm happy there. So back to the top scan then. It has no name. If you want to name it, comments below, please do. Feel free to go ahead. I'll go off and do all the names at another time. But what I'm loving about this is because it's such a high prestige ride. And by the way, there's an animation glitch there. Did you see it? I've sent it to Frontier. It's a weird thing. I don't know what's happening. But anyway, it's a high prestige ride, which means that there's now a lot of guests that are heading towards it. And every now and again, you'll see a flow of guests coming through. It is so nice to see this area now being used. Before, it was a bit unloved and unforgotten, particularly before the prestige part of the update, because guests were just ignoring the invert. They weren't coming up to the chair swing, but now they are, and the area has movement, and I'm happy. I'm so much happier with it. In terms of the ride pad, I have done some work with the ride pad. As you know, my biggest criticism with the game is the size of the ride pad, so I've just made this a little bit of a fenced off area. I have checked where guests and stuff walk, and it's all largely fine, and I've also checked clearances and stuff with trees, but I think it's important that we don't just stick to the ride pads that we get given, right? It's especially for realism, you have all sorts of weird and wonderful shapes where they're stuck into areas. So I'm happy with how this has turned out. I do just want to show you this at the back here. It's a really, really subtle detail, but because we were dealing with the side of a hill, I wanted it to feel like they've actually cut into the hill slightly and they've had to put a retaining wall in. But this is actually, if I get the UI back, this is actually one of the toy plastic pieces. I found it in the toy box pack and I just didn't get a chance to use it, but it looks really good as like a concrete block or as like a brick. So I've just stacked it together, put some of the usual soil and stuff down, and it actually looks pretty decent. I mean, it's a really subtle detail, but it's these subtle details that really like bring the area to life. Talking of subtle details, a completely needless detail is this batching area as well. So what I've done here is just like the Screaming Swing. We've got a batching area. I've put the numbers on the floor. I wish we could get guests to use it, but we can't, so it is what it is. It's just there, and it's needed for realism. I mean, they're using part of it. We'll will take it. It's just a nice simple area that the queue just splits off, and they would queue up here for each of the individual gondolas. And then I have just brought across the air gates from the wing coaster. I've had to edit them slightly to make them slightly wider, but that's all that is, just the air gates, and I'm using them in conjunction with here. I know there's a mod that can take away these little pillars, and you can have your own, but I'm not messing with mods because the last update, mods were breaking, so I don't want to go through that drama. So anyway, that's the queue cover, and then the actual queue line itself is also looking pretty sweet, pretty much as I wanted it. I mean, it's really nicely tucked along the original pathway, so it's nice that the original pathway is still in existence, and then it comes through this way. It's autosave. It comes through this way into like a cattle pen, and then it comes into the nature cattle pen, if you like, down there, and down there. And then in between, you've just got the shade and the dappled light and stuff coming through. Especially as this is going to be a pretty hefty queue ride. If it's anything like Samurai, it's an absolute nightmare. It's vile to queue for. So yeah, there you go. Except that bit. But there you go. So that's nice. And as I said, I like the fact that the original fencing and stuff is in here. It needs a bit of tidying up, but that's tomorrow me's problem. Especially as I need to do some terrain work and stuff around the back here. Talking of terrain work, by the way, as I was over here with the retaining wall, I didn't show this to you. I have also just put in initial rock work here because it's split level, and as I said, I do want to make it feel like they've dug into the hill, but they've had to put a retaining wall in. So that's what I've done there. But lots of foliage hides all of that detail anyway. It's from down here that you really get the idea. And then I have just tidied up all of the foliage and stuff along this side and all along here. And I've added in some extra trees just to give it a bit more bulk. It felt really naked in this area, especially when I took the path out. There was something that was just, it was a gap. It was bald. It was just I don't know. And it was an unwanted negative space. So I've actually put some more trees in, and it's now brought it back to life. It's now brought it to how it should be. So let's talk next week, shall we? Because you will have already spotted it. Normally I would have done this in the same episode, because I just don't have time to do it. I'm going to split it into 2 episodes. Next week we've got ourselves a spinning coaster. This is the initial layout. I need to do some tweaks to it because I'm not happy with how it interacts with the train at the back end here, but that's because I actually built spoiler alert, this is like a proper, oh no, that's not the coaster. I actually built this in the sky. So I built it here because I wanted to have it in the area rather than playing with the land. But when I then lowered it down into its position, I realised it digs into the side of this hill, and I don't quite like that, so I need to come back and do some work. But anyway, it's going to be a spinning coaster. It's going to be the last coaster for the park. It's going to be the last addition that we're going to have, and then we can call this park done and move on to a mini series that I want to do as Plump or Popland. Now that we've got the toy box stuff, I've got an idea and I'm brewing some ideas. So anyway, there we go. There's this week's or this episode's build for today. What am I trying to say? Thanks for getting to the end of the episode, I guess. As always, like, comment, and subscribe for more chaos. I'll see you next time. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.